Thank you for joining us for a very special session of Going Further with Google. So instead of just learning about the basics of docs and sheets and slides, we're going to be looking at some of those hidden tips and tricks, those things that you stumble upon that you think, that's really cool, I'd like to share that with somebody. We're going to start with Calendar, which may not seem that exciting, but I think it is. There's a lot of cool features in there that you may or may not know about. We're going to start from the basic and kind of build up. So the first thing is, not a lot of folks know that each individual calendar on the left-hand side here can be a different category of calendars. So for instance, if I want ones for holidays or for personal events or for events that I'm hosting, each of those could be an individual calendar and thus an individual color. So you'll see here on my calendar how I have these green boxes here. These are all of my workshop events for the week. If I want to go ahead and make another calendar for live events, I can click on the arrow here, hit Create New Calendar, and name it whatever I want. So you can see it is still in my Springfield College account. It is still technically my calendar, but it can have individual settings other than colors as well. So we're going to call this one Live Events. And you could put a description here. This is useful if you are sharing this calendar with other people. That way they know what is happening. So underneath here, I am Eastern Standard Time, so I'm going to go ahead and keep that Eastern. The big thing is this Share Calendar with Others feature. This allows you to share your calendar not just with people within Springfield College, but also people in the general public who have a Gmail account or a Google account. So if I click this and choose Make this calendar public, everybody who has a Google account can see whether I'm free or busy. If I decide to just share it with people inside Springfield College and not outside the college, I can have different editing details. First one being see all event details, meaning they can see the title of the event, they can see if I put a description in there, what time it starts. The other option is only to show blocks of free busy. This is useful if you have a personal calendar that you still want people to book around, but you don't necessarily want them to know about that embarrassing doctor's appointment. So I can choose free busy, and that way it just has those details on there. Now if you don't want to share with everybody, you can narrow it down to very specific people. So if I know I have an administrative assistant that is going to be adding things to my live events calendar, I can put their email address right in there. So I'm going to go ahead and choose I engage. See, they pop up. And just like before, I can change the level permission, starting from the most basic on up. So most basic being they can only see the free busy times. The other ones is they can see event details, which we already discussed. The other two, however, go a little bit further. The next option is going to be that person can make changes to events that are already in my calendar or add new events to my calendar. So if I have an administrative assistant that is booking something for me, this is going to be the option that I would want them to have, where they can add something into my calendar. It's going to go directly into either my phone or on my computer that I can see, and they don't have to have a separate calendar shared to me. It's inside my own calendar. The highest level is meaning that they can change who has these sharing permissions. So if it's a vacation calendar that 5 or 6 people are sharing, this is going to give them the option of everybody change who can see, who can join in. So I want to create this calendar, and it will start to pop up on the left-hand side here. So in a moment, you'll see something that will say live events. Now it's orange, just like my one-on-one. I have the ability once a calendar is created to change a few things. If I click the arrow next to a specific calendar, so not this arrow, but as you hover over the one next to live events, I can change the color of my calendar. So let's make this one a nice blue. So when I add in something by clicking and dragging, it's going to go default to my general calendar or my standard one, but I can then change it to the live events calendar, which will then make it blue. Makes it very easy to see what each event is. So maybe if I have a different color for meetings than I do for workshops that I'm attending, I can have different colors and easily look at a glance to see what I'm attending and where. Now, if you also click that arrow over here, you can change calendar settings at any given point. So if I wanted to go back and change my sharing permissions, that's where I would do so. I can also edit the notifications for that calendar. So if I click on that, this is going to give me the ability to set a default for all event notifications. So if I click on add a notification here, by default, this will send me a notification for every single event 10 minutes before that event starts. I don't have to manually put that in for each calendar item. Now standard, I would just create the standard event right in there. So let's do, this is going to be a workshop. I'm going to put it underneath my live events. And now if you just click create, it saves that slot in there. But if you click edit event, this gives you more editing permissions. Now before we were giving sharing permissions to the entire calendar. If we wanted to do it with just one event, this is where we would do that. So if I go over to the right-hand side here and I type in a guest, this is somebody that's going to be doing the event with me or coming to the event. I can see iEngage is now added. I can give that person the ability to modify that event, meaning they can change the time of when that event is. They can also see all of the details, and they are officially part of this event as far as adding people in as well. I can also add in things like a location. So if let's say they are coming into a conference room of some sort, all of these details will be inside the calendar event for both of us. And if something changes, let's say a day or time, they instantly get a notification in their calendar that it has been changed. The other thing that's nice about this is that I can add a video call in, and we're going to go into this a little bit later, but this can create a Google Hangout directly from your calendar. So if you're not planning on meeting in person, you can click add video call, and now I have a link to do a Google Hangout. And again, we're going to be going into Google Hangouts in a lot more detail in just a little bit. Now, if let's say I wanted to see what that event looked like or what the calendar looked like of somebody I'm working with, this is where the other calendars field comes in. I can't tell you how many times I see an email chain going back and forth asking, are you available for this day? Are you available for this day? And it's a lot of coordination back and forth. You can make that a lot easier by just typing in the name of that person's calendar. So for example, I have iEngage turned on here. That allows me to see that person's calendar, assuming that they have that sharing permissions turned on. So just like we did with creating a calendar to begin with those sharing permissions, they have to make sure that everybody in Springfield College can see free busy at least. And you can see iEngage has just the free busy turned on, which is why I just see that person is blocked out and that they're busy. This is really good if you're doing more than one person and you need to be able to coordinate together. So if I type in 5 or 6 different calendars into this other, I can turn them all on and I would see all of their calendars pop up if I have permission. If I do not have permission, for instance, it will pop up a message that says request permission. It will send that person an email asking for them to change their calendar settings for you and add you to that. It's really great because you can look for the white space and then suggest that as a meeting time. And then just like we did before, we can invite them but just by adding their name right in here. So it's a really great way to make a meeting really easily. Now, if I wanted to remind people about that meeting, that's where email guests comes in. So email guests will allow me to choose based on their response what I want to send them. So I only have iEngage on here, which is why I have a waiting response. However, if I had 5 or 6 people, some people that say yes, no, or haven't responded, I would have all of these as checkboxes right up here. If I uncheck it, you can see iEngage goes away. It automatically makes a mailing list based on their response. So if I wanted to email the people that have not responded yet to confirm whether or not they're coming, give them a little bit of a nudge, I can click awaiting response. This is going to be the email subject, and I can say something along the lines of, can you confirm whether or not you are coming to the event? Obviously, you might want to make that a little bit nicer. You could put a signature in there. Again, this is a full-fledged email. This will also send a copy to you if you elect to do so. When I click send, they now have an email automatically generated out for them. So it's, again, one of those little nifty features that's hidden inside calendars that makes things a little bit easier.